Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in to For the Record. I just want to take a moment to thank all of you, and all of you, and even you, way back there, for watching this video today. Basically, this video is going to be my thoughts, my feelings. Do I recommend, do I not recommend, basically what my feelings are for a wonderful museum that I've been waiting to go to for a number of years. It's the Bethel Museum for the Arts. It's on the original site of the 1969 Woodstock concert. And but before I dive too far into this video, I just want to mention one or two things, and I want to mention them now, opposed to later because I might forget. So, first thing is there's a really neat video that I'm going to put a link down below in the description. Okay. I advise you to go either now or when you're done with this video, go and watch that, the interview with Michael Lange. If you don't know who Michael Lange is, basically Michael Lange was or is one of the four persons. He was really the one you saw all through the Woodstock, movie or documentary, however you want to look at it. You saw him, so he was basically the face for Woodstock. And it was a really neat, intuitive interview with him. If you ever want to get inside of his head and kind of get his thoughts and how a lot of this happens, if you're interested in that, I advise you to go watch that video. It basically, what else? There was something else too. Oh, and a lot of the things that I saw at the museum, a lot of stuff I knew, a lot of stuff I didn't know. Well, first off, I guess all of you may or may not know Michael Lange and his Woodstock ventures. He only had 6 weeks to put this together, and he was actually 6 weeks to put this together, and he was really inspired by a lot of what was going on in the world at that time. There were a lot of concerts going on that brought different groups of people together. He was inspired by many concerts, but the one that I think he was inspired the most was the Monterey Pop Festival. This is a great concert. I actually won this years ago here on YouTube. I entered a contest and I won this. Thank you, Nathan. But he was inspired by this movie, amongst other concerts, to do the Woodstock concert. But it's amazing to know. I didn't know it. He did that in 6 weeks. Put it all together in 6 weeks. That's unbelievable. The cover of the album shows, it's world famous now. It's the couple wrapped they're wrapped in a blanket, and that photographer named that photo the couple in the blanket. And that couple is actually still alive today, and they're still together today. 50 years later, they're still together today. And I just found that really neat. Their names are Nick and Bobby. So anyway, my thoughts, my feelings about the museum. It was, in one word, it was amazing. I wasn't let down in the least. It was very well laid out. You walk in, and there's memorabilia on the wall. There's one part of it talks about racism and a lot of stuff that's going on today. And on the other wall, there are several different quotes from some of the attendees. Max Yazger, the owner of the farm. I don't know if I pronounced his last name right, but he was the owner of the farm. He had a really neat, there was a really neat quote on the wall, and basically he was just saying how all these people had gotten together, and they made it happen, and it was just amazing, just kind of see all that, all those quotes on the wall. Some people thought it wasn't going to happen. Some people thought that it was going to be a complete failure, and depending on how you look at it, kind of was. A money point of view, it was a complete and total loss for all the investors, because Basically, it was a free concert. I think if I remember correctly, I think they made or sold 50,000 tickets. I don't know how many were actually sold, but 500,000 people or more showed up. So it was a complete and total loss for everybody involved. But it was amazing to me that, you know, just this one concert that took place this one weekend left such an impact on everybody, on society. It left an impact on I'm sure everybody that attended, but years later, 50 years later, to still have that much of an impact, I think it's amazing. I learned that I was talking to some of the locals. Excuse me, a dry mouth. I was talking to some of the locals, and they're very nice people. And somebody had said that, had told me a piece of information I didn't know, that there is, it was owned, that property, Bethel Woods, the Bethel Woods area, the museum, that whole area is owned by one person, and I believe she said it was the guy, I don't know his name, but it was a gentleman who owns Time Warner Cable. It's kind of neat to kind of know that, like, it's not a big corporation that owns it. This one guy basically owns it. And how the whole museum came about was, I was talking to the same person, and she was saying that for a number of years, and I learned this, I didn't know this, for a number of years after Woodstock, every year a group of people, small group of people that grew and grew and grew and grew, they would get together there, and it would have just this just a leisurely, I'm going to call it a picnic or concerts. I'm not sure how big the concerts were. They weren't big names. I think there were a lot of local stuff going on, but they all got together, you know, all kind of got together, and it kind of grew, and it grew, and it grew. And then when the owner decided to buy it, I think that was probably one of the reasons that inspired him, because he knew that, you know, this how many years later this is making an impact on society, and all these people are getting together and they are celebrating, socializing, kind of getting together, informative. It wasn't a big to do. They just kind of gathered together informally and celebrated Woodstock many years later, and then to what it is today. How it's this big museum. It's basically got, if you watch the film, on the top of the hill there's a big museum, classically done. It's very nice, completely modern. But when you go inside, there are 2 levels. Well, actually 3, if you think about it. You have 2 inside, and then you have the actual property that you can walk on, and it's pretty much open to almost freely walk where you want to walk. There are some gates sometimes that are closed. I jumped it. I was told by security not to, but they were very nice people, very nice. I'll get into that in a second. So basically, you go into the museum. The ticket prices, they weren't bad. They were I think there was like 18 or 19 bucks, and kids under 5 are free or whatever. But still, the prices weren't bad. I was kind of disappointed that the gift shop was very pricey, but I bought 1 or 2 things. This being one of them. Definitely need to have the 50th anniversary shirt that I'm actually trying to find a place on my wall to put it. It's not a shirt I'm gonna wear every day. It was pricey, but I didn't feel guilty paying for stuff, because I knew that money went to Bethel Woods Center for the Arts. I mean, it's going there. It's staying local, and the money helps keep this place open. So I didn't really feel all that bad. So basically, you go into the museum, and it's laid out so you can kind of leisurely kind of walk, and kind of, if you take your time, you sit down and watch some of the movies. They're short, like 5 to 10 minute movies here and there. If you sit down, if you take the time to watch everything and look at everything, kind of take everything in, It takes about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to go through the whole thing if you take your time. If you go outside, I mean, it could take as long as you want, but an hour and a half, 2 hours if you take your time. So you go through, and it's just a place about racism, and they talk about the culture at that time, and there's a movie that kind of plays. It talks about the music. It's got a bus that you can go into, and the bus is really neat. You go into the bus, and if you go up to the driver's seat, you can see there's a screen. It's supposed to be the windshield, and it's a movie that's playing, and it just kind of talks about everything about, you know, society at that time and stuff. And you go around, and there's a 20 or 30-minute film about Woodstock, the Woodstock documentary, or the Woodstock concert, whatever. And you sit there and watch that, and it's basically the Woodstock movie, but kind of gets a little deeper into it and kind of talks about other things. If I remember correctly, it kind of just gave a little more information if you were interested in that kind of stuff. So, and then you go downstairs, and the lower part of the museum, it actually changes every year. It's not the same. They call it the basement. They have all these artifacts. This year, 2019, they have, like, if you've seen some of my other videos I posted, I think three videos about the museum. All that, if I remember, one or two of those videos were from downstairs in the basement, and which kind of showed Michael Lange's PSA motorcycle and the vest that he wears in the movie. It has, like, you know, real photographs of these well-known, like, photographers, and they're all kind of, that one area that has the photographs is kind of laid out really neat, because they're just, a lot of it's overwhelming. You just kind of need to take your time and soak it in. They have a stage there that's basically the wood. I don't think it was all the wood, because some of the wood looked awful new, but part of the stage was salvaged from the original Woodstock stage, and they made a stage, and they put you know, artifacts. They put a drum set there. They put, you know, just like clothing, you know, on dummies. They had staff T-shirts that were very unique. They're on mannequins, and there's actually a speaker that was, I don't know, it must have been, two of them together must have been 15 feet wide and, I don't know, 9 feet tall. They were fucking huge, maybe 15 feet tall. They were huge. And it was, the Woodstock documentary was coming out of it. You know, it's really neat to see. It was family friendly. You know, I wouldn't say I'd recommend younger kids going. My son, who's 12, doesn't you know, quite understand. I mean, my daughter, who's 16, kind of understood it a little better. But I mean, you know, if you have kids, you got to take your kids. You know, how well they're going to behave, who knows? My kids did pretty well. I lost my son a couple times, but he came back. But it was an experience that I'm happy that I was able to go, because like I said before, I want to go there for, I don't know how many years. I've been seriously thinking about it and seriously planning it for probably the last 5-6 years, like really putting thought into it for the past 5 or 6 years. And so the museum, it's got its regular hours, but there's part of the museum, the I guess you would call it the, I guess it's a marker that is actually open to whenever. It's not closed. It's always open. I wish I could put pictures into this video, but there's a monument, not a marker. There's a monument if you drive past the museum, and there's a road. Well, it's actually, if you ever seen the documentary, the Woodstock documentary, there's a road that is behind the stage. It's actually a dirt road. There's a road that goes this way, like the stage is right here. There's a road that goes this way, and then there's another road that goes like this. There's a house there now, but if you pass by the museum and you take a right, just a few feet down the road, there's a monument that that is open, because there's no way to close it. It's there, and it's open all the time. You can take pictures. It's very nicely done. It was done, I think it was like 83, 84. It's been there. But it's really neat too, because when you stand and looking at the monument and you look, there's a fence there now, and then you look where the stage was in the original 69 Woodstock. The ground is a different color. They put rocks, like they kind of outline where the stage was with rocks, and it's kind of risen up a little bit, and the grass is like a little different color, probably because people are walking on it, but it's a different color than the rest of the property. And I'll tell you, the landscapers here, they do a hell of a job. It's very well kept, but to see where the stage was really neat that it's survived, and somebody didn't come along before this other guy bought it and just put fucking houses up there. You know, I mean, really. So so basically, there's when you go to the monument, it's accessible. If you go to the museum, you go to the monument, there's a gate that's supposed to be open, I guess probably when the museum opens, and you can go and you can freely walk. You can walk all around the property, you know. You can walk all around. You walk on the hill that everybody sat on when Woodstock was happening. 500,000 people were there. You can walk there, but the gate wasn't open, and I said, I'm not going to fucking let a fence stop me from standing where 500,000 people stood. I'm not going to let a fence stop me from sitting where Canned Heat played, Country Joe played, Jimi Hendrix played, CCR played. You know, it was sitting there, because I jumped the fence, and it's a little bit of a walk, you know, a little bit of a walk to get there, but you can see it. And I walked there, and I had my daughter take a couple pictures of me where the stage was, and then I sat down like dead center of where the stage was on the grass. So if you're watching the film, it's right at the bottom, and then I'm sitting right there. And I just kind of, it was funny because I just kind of sat there, and I just looked, the mountain, the hill behind me, and I'm looking at where the stage, envisioning where the stage was. I'm dead center of the stage, and I'm just kind of sitting there. It was really neat and really fulfilling to do that. And then as as I'm getting up, walking back to where the monument is, the security guard came up. It's the security guard. It wasn't a security guard wearing, you know, a bulletproof vest with battle gear on. It was this girl wearing khaki shorts and a t-shirt, and she just told my daughter, you know, it's fine that you're walking around here, but the gate is usually open, and we just don't want anybody jumping the fence. They were very nice about it. They weren't mean. They were very, very, very nice staff. I think because they want people to come back. So when I had left, we came back. I actually wanted to go back the next day before we actually left. I went back the next day. The gates open, blah, 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 blah. So you can, you know, the gates normally open, like I said, you can walk around. But we definitely need to visit the monument, because that's, like, you can see, you know, hills up this way, and then you have the grass area right here. And then if you're standing on top of the hill, all right, and you're looking out, well, actually, in the movie, the Woodstock movie, there is a pond where you see a lot of people that are swimming, they're bathing, they got the kids in it, doing whatever. That pond, you can see if you're standing on the top of the hill. The museum would be behind you, and there's you can see the pond. You can see that pond. The pond is still there. It's across the street from where the monument is, and there's a house. There's a house like right there, and the pond is like right over here. That house wasn't originally there. There was actually a dirt road that, like I said, that goes this way, and then it goes this way. And the pond is right there. That's the pond that's in the film. That's private property now. You can't go there. But I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. It was, you know, I definitely recommend it if anybody is able to drive, you know, from Rhode Island or Mass. It takes like 4 to 4.5 hours. It's really not that far. I spent 2 days there, 2 nights, 3 days. We stayed. I went there twice, but it was definitely experience that I will never forget. I do plan on going back. I don't know when. I would love to go back and see it again. I did it once. I crossed off my bucket list. Once is okay, but I definitely would love to go again, because it was just very inspiring to see all the different things from that era, all the memorabilia. Oh, one of the things that they had there was the microphone. There was a microphone and a harmonica. That the microphone was used by many acts at Woodstock, but Canty played, and somehow Alan Wilson from Canty, he somehow took possession of that microphone and had it in his possession for years. I'm not too sure how the museum got a hold of it, but it explained that Alan Wilson somehow took possession of that microphone, and he owned it for a number of years. But it's on display with a harmonica, which was really neat to see. I loved Canty. I love Canty. I love their music. But I didn't buy too much. I bought a few things. But one thing I did buy that was kind of neat. They actually have a few posters that are current 2019, and they go back to 2016, and they're these posters right here. This one just happened to be Rod Stewart and Cyndi Lauper. This is that, like I said, they have concerts there, and this was July 21st, 2017. So these two posters, they retail for $25 there, and I guess what it is they print so many of them, and they put them wherever for people to see. And they are numbered, actually. This one is numbered 48 of 100. See it right there. Okay. There were a couple that I would have gotten, but this retails, like I said, they retail for 25. But this one was cheaper because it's a couple of years old. It was only 10 bucks, so I got it. There was a couple posters I was interested in, but I don't have much room here in my music room, so I didn't want to get too much and just put them away somewhere I can't see them. So I got one. I'm just trying to find a space for this one. They had Poison. They had what else did they have? They had a lot. They had a lot. And the older ones are cheaper. But I get this one. Bethel Woods Center for the Arts. It's definitely neat. I picked this one because it kind of looks like it's a screen print. It's not, but it kind of gives that kind of that look that it's almost like screen printing. But that's why I picked this one. And I like Rod Stewart, what can I say? I got the shirt here. I guess that's it. But my thoughts, those are my thoughts about Bethel Museum for the Arts Center. I definitely recommend it. And try to think if there was anything else I wanted to talk about. I think that's it. I hope I didn't talk too much. I just want to give some information about it, because it was definitely a place to visit. It definitely crossed that off my bucket list. It's definitely worth going to visit. It's very well done, very well preserved, and that's it. That's it. I hope any of you that are planning to go do go, and if you have gone, I'd like to hear your thoughts. That's it. That's all I have. And as always, be kind to others. Peace. See you on the flip side.